And we don't see these people, whether in the US, the UK, or here in Australia, protest against the Iranian regime. We haven't seen that at all from these leftist activists, not even as shocking reports come to light of the regime executing injured protesters in their hospital beds. The New York Post reports on horrifying footage being shared inside Iran of security forces raiding hospitals to look for those who were wounded during the protest, Douglas. And the numbers killed now, we're not clear on them, but there are many tens of thousands.
I think it's safe to say, Rita, that there are certainly tens of thousands of casualties inside Iran caused by the regime, the victims being the Iranian people who have incredibly bravely turned out on the streets to object to the regime that's ruined the country of their birth since 1979. It's pretty amazing when you think about it that in just a few weeks, all those casualties have mounted up, and there's this silence. There's just this silence. You and I have commented on it before, Rita. Why is the silence there? Is it that Jews aren't involved? Is it that they can't blame Trump? Is it that there isn't that they can't see some kind of decolonizing angle to this? Who knows? Maybe their fatuous worldviews aren't actually applicable to the world. I mean, there's a thought. And so we have obscene things like commentators not just being silent on this, and not just protesters being silent on this, but actually we've seen in recent days various Islamists and others in the West attacking the brave
Yes.
critics of the Iranian revolutionary government. I mean, it's not just the critics of the government on the streets of Iranian cities. It's the critics of the Iranian government from Iran in cities like New York who are getting criticism. If an ounce of that criticism went to the Ayatollah and his death squads and all of his goons from the Basij militia and elsewhere, who, as you say, as the New York Post reported, are not just shooting people in the head in the streets and sniping at people in the streets, but going around and shooting them in their hospital beds. If an ounce of a condemnation came towards them, I mean, we'd notice it, but it isn't. The silence tells you almost everything, frankly.
It is, and you're so right. The smear campaign against the people speaking out for the Iranian freedom fighters, and even smearing people inside Iran who are risking their lives protesting against this regime. The suggestion that this is some Western plot, it's some conspiracy by America and Israel to destabilize a regime like they, as you explained, has destroyed that country since 1979. Now, before you go, I saw this piece in the Independent yesterday arguing, Douglas, that the UK countryside is racist. The author argues just like British towns and cities that have what she calls racist riots and flag campaigns, the British countryside is also racist in parts. And Douglas, you'll be happy to know the Starmer government has been busy tackling this very serious issue and even commissioned a review into the matter.
Yes, that's right. They have commissioned a review to find the English countryside guilty, specifically guilty of the crime of racism. Among other things, the report says that if the countryside wants to remain relevant, it's very hard to say with a straight face. If the countryside wants to remain relevant, it's got to diversify. Well, I'm not sure that the job of hills and fields is to be relevant. I don't think that its job is to sort of adapt to the zeitgeist of the era. I think its job is actually to remind us of the eternal and of what is constant. If you kept trying to make the countryside relevant, what would you do? Sort of make sure you did lots of pride colors, maybe across cornfields. Maybe you could grow your crops in the color of the progress flag or something like that. But this is all just preposterous. And as I actually said in a piece in The Spectator last week, just imagine, I mean, I laugh at this because otherwise you'd weep, but just imagine this England Britain in the 21st century wants to find itself guilty of absolutely everything. We've got some islands, the Chagos Islands, let's give them away. We've got beautiful buildings. Let's say that they were built because of slavery. We've got wonderful cities. Let's pretend they're the result of empire and nothing else. We've got beautiful countryside. Let's call it racist. And this comes from government departments. And the one thing I always ask about this is effectively the what's the source of the goose, source of the gander. You know, would there be, Rita, any other scenario where it would be deemed acceptable to go to a country's natural place, its nature, and say that it was racist and claim that it was racist because I don't know, one of the things is that I think there aren't enough Muslims at the pubs in the English countryside or something. Well, good luck forcing that one. There aren't. I mean, but just as I say, just try this anywhere else. I mean, if you went to Pakistan, wandered into the beautiful Pakistani countryside, and said, "I'm terribly sorry, but this isn't very diverse, chaps. We're going to bring a whole load of people from Wales because you haven't got any Welsh representation." And it's really not up to scratch until you do. People would think you were balmy. They would think you were completely crazy because you would be. So why we put up with this, I just don't know.
The self-loathing is reaching new heights in the UK. It really is quite astonishing to be attacking your natural features, those xenophobic streams and mountains. Douglas Murray, it's always a pleasure.
Great to see you, Rita.